Mario Party Jamboree is actually really fun, and apparently that's not as controversial of an opinion as I expected it to be. It turns out a lot of people are enjoying this game, and I'd like to take some time today to explore why I think that is. So, I hate opening a review on a negative note, especially when it's for a game that I actually really enjoyed. However, I do have to preface this by saying that the opening video for Mario Party Jamboree is kind of long for what I would expect for a Mario Party game. Credit where credit's due, in order to showcase all that this game has to offer, you actually do need a pretty good amount of time, since there is a lot to do. And I think the devs just really wanted players to know as soon as they start that there is in fact a ton of content in this game. Matter of fact, the intro doesn't even actually cover everything there is to do, since there are maps, modes, and other content that you unlock later, not to mention the mini-games that we don't even actually see in this clip. I've sped up the introduction video here just to save some time, but before I adjusted the speed it clocked in at about 3 minutes and 42 seconds, which really surprised me. Once we're out of that intro, we get to pick our character from a pretty impressive starting roster with 2 characters who are unlocked later on. I was very happy myself to see both Rosalina and Toadette offered as playable options here and had a hard time picking who to start with, though I ended up going with my usual choice in Mario Party, Rosalina. After character selection, we're brought to the Party Plaza, where Toad gives us another, almost 2-minute long overview of the different areas of the map and what we can do at each of them. This is a little more in-depth with the explanations despite being shorter, but it definitely felt a little redundant after the initial introduction. After Toad's explanations, if we come back to the Party Plaza, which I did, we're met with another, thankfully much shorter, explanation clip, though this one feels far less redundant as it actually covers the facilities available at the Party Plaza, which after my initial reaction of "Are you kidding me? Another explanation?" I was actually grateful for, because it led me to my first surprise of this game, which is that we actually get a story mode. As someone who loved Mario Party DS for its story mode, I don't think you guys understand how absolutely ecstatic I was to find out about Party Planner Trek in Mario Party Jamboree. In Party Planner Trek, we help Comic and Toad get all of the boards ready for everyone to party on, starting at Goomba Lagoon and working our way through all of the boards. On each board, there's no need to roll the dice, as unlike previous story modes, this isn't actually a single-player party mode. You're able to freely move across the board, helping familiar faces like the Koopas, Toad, and even some of our main cast, like Mario and Peach, with different quests. Some of the quests are just simple item fetching, some involve playing minigames, and some of them require you to interact with the board's unique quirks and features to progress. Doing tasks earns you decoration items for your Party Plaza, as well as mini stars, which will allow you to unlock the boss for each board and progress through the story to subsequent boards. I was so excited about this mode that I actually immediately abandoned all the other modes I was excited for just to play the first level. Party Planner Trek, while simple and pretty short, makes for a great time, and I'm happy to finally have a Mario Party for the Switch that actually has story mode. Alright, with my excitement over Party Planner Trek out of the way, let's talk about some of the additional modes that I think really help set Mario Party Jamboree apart from previous Mario Party titles on the Switch. Starting with Motion Island, we have 3 different motion games to play, which are Rhythm Kitchen, Toad's Item Factory, and Paratroopa Flight School. Starting with Rhythm Kitchen, you'll work together through various motion control minigames to create tasty dishes, which will be judged by a panel of Yoshis based on how you do throughout each segment. I found Rhythm Kitchen to be a bit challenging at first, but I got the hang of things pretty quickly and had a wonderful time playing it. Also, why does animated food always look so tasty? In Toad's Item Factory, you'll help the Toads assemble items you normally see throughout Party Mode in their factory by navigating marbles through various courses. If you've ever played the Labyrinth marble game, this immediately reminded me of that, and I thought that while it was pretty simple, it's a very fun mode to play if you don't have the same time or energy required of you for other modes. For the last game on Motion Island, we have the Paratroopa Flight School, which if I'm being honest, was my least favorite of the three. That's not to say that it's bad or that it isn't fun, I just found myself having a harder time with the motion mechanics in this one. You play as Mario with a set of wings, which you use to flap and glide across the island in 3 different modes. First is Sky Battle, where you work to assemble a flock of Para-Bitty Buds larger than your opponent, and Koopa Paratroopa Taxi, where you pick up passengers and deliver them to their destination. There's also a third mode, Free Flight, which, as the name suggests, just allows you to fly freely around the island. Paratroopa Flight School is an interesting idea, but I honestly just kinda sucked at it, and I think that's okay. That said, am I the only one who saw this mode in the trailers and was immediately reminded of that Lost Media screenshot for the early build of Wii Sports Airplane with the jetpack? I know we ended up with Pilot Wings Resort reusing the idea with the rocket belt, but for me, that screenshot was the first thing I thought of when I saw Paratroopa Flight School in the trailer. Alright, with motion games out of the way, let's take a look at the Bowser challenges, which come in 2 varieties. The first challenge we'll be taking a look at is Bowser Kaboom Squad, where you and 7 other players work together to take down the massive imposter Bowser by loading bombs into a cannon. Find 20 bombs, fire the cannon, and you'll whittle down imposter Bowser's health. There are 5 rounds, and after each there will be a mini-game where you and your teammates work together to try to unlock bonus items to help you in your fight against imposter Bowser. But make sure to take him down before the end of the 5th round, or it's game over. The second Bowser challenge, Koopathlon, is a massive 20-person minigame marathon. In the Koopathlon, you'll compete against 19 other players to get as many coins as you can in minigames to advance along the track, with each coin moving you 1 space. You'll need to complete 3 laps of 150 spaces each before the rest of your opponents to claim first place. But keep your guard up, as Imposter Bowser will be ready and waiting to hit everyone with unexpected surprises and slow down your progress. Both Bowser challenges are honestly insanely fun, and I was really impressed by these entries. They were experimental, but I think they've paid off greatly in adding even more fun and exciting ways to play Mario Party. Speaking of, I know I've been yapping for almost 8 minutes now and haven't addressed the actual Mario Party mode. I promise I only have one more mode to go over before then, and I'll keep it short. This is Minigame Bay, a place where, in Toad's words, there's no shortage of water sports and minigames. Minigame Bay boasts a whopping 6 modes to play. In Boss Rush, you'll face a gauntlet of boss minigames from Party Planner Trek, starting with Dragon Eel from Goomba Lagoon, and working your way up to Imposter Bowser. Boss Rush is straightforward but offers a unique experience for replaying previous boss battles. Showdown Minigame Battle is a coin collector battle mode where your goal is to collect more coins than your opponents by playing through various showdown minigames, which are the minigames you face off against your opponents in to win Jamboree Buddies in party mode. I was personally a huge fan of the Jamboree Buddy minigames, so having a minigame mode dedicated to these games in particular was definitely a win. Survival mode is an online-only mode that allows you to test your minigame skills against other players from around the world. Practice and work hard to sharpen your skills, and soon you'll find your skill rank climbing higher and higher. Daily challenges are sets of minigames you can compete against others in that, as the name implies, change daily. Sets are 3 minigames each and generally have some kind of fun overarching theme. This was actually the first mode I tried in Minigame Bay, and I actually found it to be quite fun. I like having a themed set of minigames I can just hop on into with other players, and I really like that it rotates daily. The last 2 modes are pretty simple and self-explanatory. There's Tag Match, where you work in teams of 2 in 2v2 games to try to win more minigames than the other team, and Free Play, which as the name implies allows you to just play whatever minigames you want at will with no odd rules or win conditions, just one-off minigames at your leisure. If you guys are interested, I'd love to do a minigame tier list video where I rank all of the minigames available in Mario Party Jamboree, so please let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Alright, with all of the other modes out of the way, we can finally talk about everything I love and hate about Party Mode in Mario Party Jamboree. To start, I am in love with the designs for all of the available boards. There's 4 starting boards with an additional 3 that are unlocked later for a total of 7, and picking a favorite was incredibly difficult because I found something to love about each and every board. For our starting boards, we have Goomba Lagoon, a massive 91 space resort with zip lines, fishing spots, and even some treasure chests. This map contains 2 quirks, which are the Goomba Volcano and the Tide feature. During low tide, you'll be able to travel freely around every space on the map, but when high tide hits, you'll be stuck on whatever island you've ended up on, unless you use the zip lines. But the zip lines only work one way, so if you find yourself on the northern portion of the island during this time, you'll either need a teleportation item or to just wait it out until the tides change again. When the volcano erupts, the map will become littered with either gold Goombas or lava bubbles. Passing a gold Goomba will earn you 5 coins, but passing through lava bubbles will cost you 3 coins. Be careful, and when the volcano erupts, be prepared to plan your path accordingly. Next we have Mega Wiggler's Tree Party, a quiet forest that's home to a napping wiggler as well as some dozing piranha plants. This board has fewer spaces than Goomba Lagoon with a total of only 63, but it too is home to some fun features. Land on a piranha plant space and you'll get attacked by the napping piranha plants who you've rudely awoken. You'll also lose 5 coins, which increases with every player who lands on the space as the piranha plants grow. Land on a bell space and you'll awaken the sleeping wiggler in the middle of the board, changing the path and potentially making him angry. Next is Roll'em Raceway, which has 77 spaces and brings back a familiar mechanic from Mario Party 9 and 10, using a vehicle to travel around the board. However, each player has their own vehicle and moves independently from one another instead of traveling together like what occurred in the aforementioned titles. Roll'em Raceway has several interesting features to accompany the car mechanic, which includes jump pads, shops, and jump pads swapping places and runaway race cars, which causes a bruiser to chase you along a path. There's also the dice stop, which allows you to spend 10 coins to fill your inventory with dice items, giving you a chance for a massive leg up in the race. The last starting board we have is Rainbow Galleria, which I think might be my favorite. Despite only having 69 spaces, the Galleria manages to pack in a ton of fun features. There's several unique shops that we don't see featured on other boards, a raffle drawing that gives players a chance to win coins or even a golden pipe, the stamp rally that rewards players with coins for collecting stamps from various stations around the board, flash sales every 5 turns that cause items to be half price, and more. Not to mention how lovely I think the design of this board is. It's a small board with lots to see and do, as well as what I find to be a very useful layout for getting around. For the first board we have that unlocks with gameplay progression, we have Western Land, which is a revamped board from Mario Party 2. This one stays pretty true to the original version it references, with the space count only being different by 10, as it has 104 spaces instead of 114 spaces, making it a massive board. Much like its original, which to date is the largest board in Mario Party that follows party rules. This board's primary feature is the train, which can be called to a station to move you 1 or 2 stations over, as well as used to run other players over, which I maybe found a little more humorous than I should have when I first played this map with my partner. After that, we have Mario's Rainbow Castle, another callback board initially featured in the original Mario Party all the way back on the Nintendo 64. This map is even closer in scale than the previous to its original, with a difference of only 2 spaces, leaving it at 51 spaces, which I actually find to be a pretty good number. I'm a fan of these smaller boards where you can reasonably go around the entire thing more than once or twice in a 10-round game. The quirk with this board is that every time someone gets a star from the toad at the top of the tower, it will rotate to reveal Imposter Bowser, who will then take 20 coins from the next player to give them a completely useless star. This can be mitigated with items as well as event spaces. Also, the shop on this board experiences the same effect. The very last board we have in Mario Party Jamboree is King Bowser's Keep, which has 83 spaces and several interesting features. The board's main mechanic is that Imposter Bowser sits at the center of the board, and he will periodically decide that it's his turn to play, and will proceed to spit fireballs onto random spaces along the Bowser byway, turning them into Bowser spaces. This happens every 3 turns. Speaking of the Bowser byway, this square section at the middle of the board can change direction with the pull of a lever or the right event space. There's also bullet bills and bob-ombs that chase you, the gear shift that gives you coins or an exploding bob-omb for passing it, Mecha Koopas that you can jump on for coins, and Bowser's Giant Vault, which is where Imposter Bowser stores the things he takes from players who land on Bowser spaces. Each time you pass the vault, you'll be given a chance to guess the 2-digit passcode and take the contents of the vault for yourself. While I definitely enjoyed some more than others, I found all of the boards in Mario Party Jamboree to be quite fun, and I'm really enjoying the direction we are going with board design in the Mario Party franchise. Boards aside, let's talk about what else is new with Party Mode. I think the most obvious entry for that list is the introduction of Jamboree Buddies. Jamboree Buddies are a rework of the ally mechanic from previous games like Super Mario Party and Mario Party Star Rush. Instead of having a designated ally space that can be landed on at any time, Jamboree Buddies will spontaneously appear on one space on the board for 3 turns. If a player runs into them, a showdown minigame to see who will get the buddy will start, instead of the buddy automatically going to the player who landed on the space. However, that player will be given bonus points to give them an advantage in the showdown minigame. Each Jamboree Buddy has their own special showdown minigame, like Peach's Day Off or DK's Conga Line, and each one has their own abilities as well. Another thing that separates Jamboree Buddies from allies in previous games is their ability to be stolen by passing the player who's playing with them. So even if you lose the showdown minigame, you'll still have every possibility of ending up with that buddy anyways. Jamboree Buddies will also only stick around for 3 turns after they've been claimed, and traveling with a Jamboree Buddy provides the player with 2 chances for mini pass-through spaces, shops, and more. I'm really in love with the Jamboree Buddy feature. From the fun and unique minigames to stealing them from the competition, I think that this worked out to be a wonderful rework of an existing feature that paid off really well. A less obvious and less well-received feature in Mario Party Jamboree is Pro Rules, which makes Party Mode more skill-based than luck-based. In this mode, there are several changes to the rules that we're familiar with. Pro Rules have kind of been torn apart online since the game came out, and while I definitely agree that they could have been executed a bit better, I actually didn't hate playing with this rule set as much as I initially anticipated I would. I think having a version of Mario Party that's a little more rooted in skill rather than luck is a fun change. I do think that Pro Rules would have been better received if the rule sets were more customizable, rather than being a static black and white. I enjoyed voting on minigames and not having to deal with luck-based elements, but being stuck at exclusively having 12 turns isn't fun for players who need more flexibility with time constraints, and I was a bit frustrated that I couldn't set it to the usual 10 rounds. I also wasn't in love with the fact that you can't try to fight Boo off. I don't really see the point in removing that from this mode, seeing as how fast you can mash a button isn't really luck-based, even if it's not some rocket science level of skill either. I know Nintendo listening to fans is historically a bit of a hit or miss, but I hope they see the feedback about Pro Rules, and in future titles give us more customization for rule sets. It would be nice to be able to manually toggle which rules we want from which rule set respectively so we can have a more custom-tailored Mario Party experience, rather than being firmly locked into one or the other. In conclusion, while Mario Party Jamboree is absolutely not perfect, it is a massive step in the right direction for the Mario Party franchise. I'm in love with the visual design for this game, the modes and characters available, and even some features I still didn't have the time to really go over in this video. Jamboree is, I think, the best Mario Party game we've gotten on the Switch, and it's made me feel substantially better about the future of the series. What do you think? Have you played Mario Party Jamboree yet? If not, are you planning on giving it a go? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, stay cozy!